Now, if we go ahead and navigate into all of our theme files, we can go from our root to WP content, themes, and here's where we can start to look through all the different theme files. So if I just select 2015, that's just the default WordPress theme that comes installed when you set up WordPress. You can see that we have some pretty basic pages. So 404, archive, author bio, comments, and content on page, content on none, content in search. So if we run a search in our search bar, this was what manages that page. Standard content. Then we have our footer, which is represented in the footer on each of our pages, just like the header. Header is represented on each of our pages. Then we have a general functions.php file, and this is just specific functions for your theme. You can open it up in a text editor and go ahead and just look through all the settings. This would also be the place where we changed up the site so it would be a little bit more secure when people try to log in. This is also where you would add the code if you set your URL and it happened to be the wrong URL and you had to go back and force it to be the correct one while you went in and changed everything. Image.php. Then we have the index.php. Index.php is a main template, and it must be present to actually set up the site. So just keep that in mind. Then we have page, which is a standard page.php file. And if we want to make any updates to it, we could just look at it in a text editor. And you can see everything starting here. And you can also see that it calls in the header and calls in the footer here too. So just one thing to pay attention to, a lot of these link to each other. Then we have search.php, sidebar.php if we want to edit our sidebars, single.php for single posts and attachments, and then we have our style.css. Also keep in mind, if you want to add in additional styles, sometimes you might see it in a CSS folder here or in a JS folder where you would be adding specific JavaScript files and things like that you would want linked up into your website. Next, let's take a quick look at plugin files. And I'm just going to open the standard one. Typically, the plugin files are primarily PHP. Sometimes you will see different CSS files in here and JavaScript files that help lay out the page and things like that. So just keep in mind one important thing. We typically don't want to go through and edit our plugin files because when we update a plugin, it could override all those settings. So just keep that in mind. You want to be careful. If you do make any changes, you're able to apply it into a different CSS file that doesn't necessarily live within that actual plugin.